Praise Yah, brothers and sisters. Praise the Most High. Baruch are all we who revere Yahuah and walk in his ways. Today we're going to talk about the condition of our hearts and how this is going to be very important for us to in the determination of where we're going to spend eternity. So we know there's a wedding coming up. Praise Yah. The Ben of Yahuah, Yahushua HaMashiach, is going to be getting married. He's the bridegroom. And there is a bride who's making herself ready. In the book of Hezon, it says she has made herself ready. And so we are striving to live eternally with the Father. We want to be in the New Jerusalem. We want to be part of that bride. Sometimes when I think about things, I say, Father, if I could just even make it to the wedding supper, at least I know then I'm not going to spend eternity in damnation. But of course, and you know, that's just a human part of me. Of course, I want to be numbered with the bride. So anyways, we're going to be talking about the heart today. And maybe I'm the only one who thinks like that, but I want to escape damnation. But I also would like to be in a place where I am close to Yahushua, close to the Father. So before a wedding takes place, we know that a man and a woman, they want each other's heart. Something has taken place that they realize that they want to spend the rest of their natural lives together. Are we in a place where we are winning Yahuwah's heart? Is he looking at us and saying, I like her, I like him, I like their heart, I like how they see things, I like how the intent of their heart is always for good, even if they fall short. And that must be what it is, because in Tehillim 37 it says, a righteous man will fall 7 times, but he rises. So even though we fall, could it be that the intent of our heart is right? So we're going to start, so that's what we're going to talk about today. And we're going to start in Mark 11. On the morrow, when they were come from Bethany, he was hungry. And seeing a fig tree afar off having leaves, he came to it, if happily he might find anything thereon. And when he came to it, he found nothing but leaves, for the time of the figs was not yet. And Yahushua answered and said unto it, no man shall eat of you thereof forever. And his disciples heard it. The next day they passed by, they saw the fig tree dried up from the roots. And Peter called to remembrance to him, Master, behold, the fig tree which you cursed is withered away. And Yahushua answered, saying unto them, have faith in the Ruah, for verily I say unto you, that whoever shall say to this mountain, be removed and be thrown into the sea, and shall not doubt in his heart, but shall believe that those things which he says shall come to pass, he shall have whatever he says. Right? Remember, we just had an audio on that, being mindful of the things that we say. And that sometimes when we're talking corruption stuff or a lot of justing and kidding all the time, our words don't have much validity. So we want to be mindful of the things we say, because we can have whatever it is that we believe and we say. It shall come to pass. So we don't want to be like this fig tree, looking the part, but yet not being able to produce what was expected. Because people see you and they, you know, when they see us, they expect a certain thing, and then we let them down. We don't want to be that way. We don't want to look the part and not be the part. Matthew 7, beginning with verse 12, therefore all things that we would want others to do for us, we must do even so to them. For this is the law and the prophets. Enter into at the straight gate. For wide is the gate and broad is the way that leads to destruction. And many there be which shall go therein. So there's going to be many going into the broad way. Because straight is the gate, meaning lots of tests and trials. And narrow is the way which leads into life. And few there be that find it. It's not the easy way. The straight gate is full of tests and trials. Beware of false prophets which come to you in sheep's clothing, but inwardly they are ravening wolves. You will know them by their fruits. Do men gather grapes of thorns or figs of thistles? Even so, every good tree brings forth good fruit, but a corrupt tree brings forth evil fruit. A good tree cannot bring forth evil fruit, neither can a corrupt tree bring forth good fruit. Every tree that brings not forth good fruit is hewn down and cast into the fire, thrown into the fire. We don't want to say the word cast because of what it's related to. So thrown into the fire. Wherefore by their fruits we shall know them. Not everyone that says unto me, Master, Master, shall enter into the kingdom of the Shamayim, but he that does the will of my Father which is in the Shamayim. Okay, so see, not everyone that's saying, calling his name, so it's more than just knowing his name. I've said that many times, and I know you agree, that it's going to be more than knowing the name. Many shall say to me in that day, Master, Master, have we not prophesied in your name, and in your name have cast out devils, and in your name done many wonderful works? And then will I profess unto them, I never knew you. It's more than works. It's more than looking green and luxurious like you have fruit. Or we, I'm not going to say you, we have fruit. And then when it comes to picking the fruit, there is no fruit. And remember in Yahuah 15, he talks about the fruit. We can't bear fruit if we don't stay connected to him. We're the branches, he's the vine, and we have to stay connected to him. And the Father is the husbandman. So he says, depart from me, you workers of iniquity. Let's think about this. Could that iniquity have been seen only in the heart, not the works? Is it like the fig tree that looked healthy and fruit producing, yet it wasn't? There was no fruit. And because Yahuah, our Abba, sees what no man can see, because he sees the heart, he knows every man. These people who thought they were going to be able to get in because they were doing all these works in his name, their actions evidently didn't coincide with their heart. What was the motive behind the actions? What was the intent behind the actions? Our hearts have to be after him. Has to always be, he said, because they didn't do the will of the Father. We have to know him. We have to be pleasing to him. More is going to be required than just knowing his name. Matthew 25. Then shall the kingdom of the Shamayim be compared to 10 virgins, which took their lamps and went forth to meet the bridegroom. And 5 of them were wise and 5 were foolish. They that were foolish took their lamps and took no oil with them. But the wise took oil in their vessels with their lamps, while the bridegroom tarried. They all slumbered and slept. And at midnight there was a cry made, Behold, the bridegroom cometh. Go out to meet him. Then all those virgins arose and trimmed their lamps. And the foolish said to the wise, Give us of your oil, for our lamps are gone out. But the wise answered, saying, Not so, lest there not be enough for us and you. But go you rather to them that sell and buy for yourselves. And while they went to buy, the bridegroom came, and then they that were ready went in with him to the marriage, and the door was shut. Afterward came also the other virgins, saying, Master, Master, open to us. But he answered and said, Verily I say unto you, I know you not. Watch therefore, for you know neither the day nor the hour wherein the Son of Man comes. Did he see in their hearts? Let's think about it. That they were not serious about this wedding, nor of his coming. They evidently didn't think it took all of that oil that the 5 wise maidens had with them, because they had an opportunity to do the same thing. And isn't that what religious people think about us, those who are striving to measure up 100% to Yahuah's word, not trying to side, escape and just squeeze in? And no, it does take that and everything else. Commandment keepers, they're following what thus says Yahuah. They're wanting to please him. The heart. The heart. Are we winning his heart? 1 Samuel 16 verse 5, But Yahuah said to Samuel, Look not on the appearance or at the height of his stature, for I have rejected him. For Yahuah sees not as man sees, for man looks on the outward appearance, but Yahuah looks on the heart. So, This is when Samuel was directed by Yahuah to go to Jesse's house to anoint the next king. And Samuel saw the one brother. He was tall in stature, and he looked like he would make a he was the image of a king. But Yahuah was looking at the heart. Psalm 139 gives us a real good glimpse of how much Yahuah knows us. He knew us before our parents knew us. Yahuah, you have searched me thoroughly and have known me. You know my down sitting and my uprising. You understand my thought afar off. You sift, and search out my path and my lying down, and you are acquainted with all my ways. For there is not a word in my tongue still unuttered. But behold, Yahuah, you know it altogether. So King James says, you know my thoughts afar off. You have surrounded me and shut me in behind and before, and you have laid your hand upon me. Your infinite knowledge is too wonderful for me. It is high above me. I cannot reach it. Where could I go from your Ruah, or where could I flee from your presence? If I ascend up into the Shamayim, you are there. If I make my bed in Sheol, the place of the dead, hell, behold, you are there. If I take the wings of the morning or dwell in the uttermost parts of the sea, even there shall your hand lead me, and your right hand shall hold me. If I say, surely the darkness shall cover me, and the night shall be the only light about me, even the darkness hides nothing from you. But the night shines as the day, and the darkness and the light are both alike to you. For you did form my inward parts. You did knit me together in my mother's womb. My frame was not hidden from you when I was being formed in secret, and intricately and curiously wrought, as if embroidered with various colors. In the depths of the earth, a region of darkness and mystery. So I always say that when our parents didn't even know, or when we as parents didn't even know that we were creating a child, Yah already knew. Whether the parents are serving him or not, he still knew. Because he knows everything and he's everywhere, right? And there's nothing that happens that he doesn't know about. Your eyes saw my unformed substance, and in your book all the days of my life were written before ever they took shape, when as yet there was none of them. How precious and weighty also are your thoughts to me, Yahuah. How vast is the sum of them. If I could count them, they would be more in number than the sand. When I awake, or I don't like saying awake, because awake is dealing with death. But when I arise, when I come to the realization, could I count to the end? I would still be with you. Search me thoroughly, Yahuah, and know my heart. Try me and know my thoughts, and see if there is any wicked or hurtful way in me, and lead me in the way everlasting. Jeremiah 17. The heart is deceitful above all things, and is exceedingly perverse and corrupt, and severely, mortally sick. Who can know it? Who can perceive it? Who can grasp it and know it, or be acquainted with his own heart and mind? I, Yahuah, search the mind, and I try the heart, and even to give to every man according to his works and his ways, according to the fruit of his doings. Oh my, that's how evil our heart is. We're trying to we want our heart to win him. We want to do the will of the Father. We don't want him to say he didn't know us. Hezron 22 verse 7, behold, I come quickly. Baraki is he that keeps the sayings of the prophecy of this book. And he said unto me, this is John talking, seal not the sayings of the prophecy of this book, for the time is at hand. He that is unjust, let him be unjust still, and he that is, no, I'm taking that word which out. He that is filthy, let him be filthy still, and he that is righteous, let him be righteous still, and he that is kodosh, let him be kodosh still. And behold, I come quickly, and my reward is with me, to give every man according as his work shall be. I am the Aleph and the Toph, the beginning and the end, the first and the last. Baraki are they that do his commandments, that they may have the right to the tree of life, and may enter in through the gates unto the city. What city? The New Jerusalem. We want the rights to walk in through that gate into the city. So without, which he's talking about without the gates, are dogs and sorcerers and whoremongers and murderers and idolaters, and whoever loves and makes a lie. I, Yahushua, have sent my messenger to testify to you these things in the assemblies. I am the root and the offspring of Dawood and the bright and morning star. There's not going to be any time to get ready when he comes. We have to already be ready. He's coming quickly, and his reward's going to be with him. Luke 6, beginning with verse 43. For there is no good, healthy tree that bears decayed, worthless, stale fruit. Nor, on the other hand, does a decayed, worthless, sickly tree bear good fruit. For each tree is known and identified by its own fruit. For figs are not gathered from thorn bushes, nor is a cluster of grapes picked from a bramble bush. The upright, that is the honorable, intrinsically good man, out of the good treasure that is stored in his heart, produces what is right and honorable and intrinsically good. And the evil man out of the evil storehouse of his heart brings forth that which is depraved, wicked, and intrinsically evil. For out of the abundance, the overflow of his heart, his mouth speaks. Have you ever said something and you're like, where did that come from? Oh my goodness. What was I thinking? Well, I don't even think like that. It's in the depths of the heart. It's in the depths of the heart. Yahushua told his taught ones in Yahuah 14, verse 30. Hereafter I will not talk with you much, for the prince of this world cometh and has nothing in me. In the Amplified Version translation, it says this: I will not talk with you much more, for the prince of the world, that evil genius ruler, is coming. And he has no claim on me. He has nothing in common with me. There is nothing in me that belongs to him, for he has no power over me. Tehillim 19. Who can understand his errors? Like, who can know his ways? We don't know ourselves like we think we do. Or most of us don't. I shouldn't say all of us, but most of us don't. So who can cleanse his ways? Abba, cleanse me from secret faults. Oh my, secret faults. Keep your servant back also from presumptuous sins. Let them not have dominion over me. Then shall I be upright, and I shall be innocent from the great transgression. Let the words of my mouth and the meditation of my heart be acceptable in your sight, Yahuah. You are my strength and my redeemer. So what is that great transgression? I am not sure, but I'm going to share with you some verses that I think might have something to do with that. And so I'm in Luke 9, verse 62. This was after Yahuah was, he was looking for followers. And the title of that section of that chapter says, would-be disciples. Would-be disciples. How many of us are would-be disciples, taught ones? Oh my. And then we have to make this decision, what we're going to do. So verse 62, Yahushua said unto him, this last person, because they each had different excuses. One had to go bury someone that was dead, and someone else wanted to go back and tell his family members he was leaving, going to be following Yahuah. And then this, he said, no man having put his hand to the plow and looking back is fit for the kingdom of Yahuah. And then we're going to go to 2 Kepha, chapter 2, verse 19 or verse 20. For if after they have escaped the pollution of the world through the knowledge of Yahuah and Yahushua HaMashiach, they are again entangled therein and overcome, the latter end is worse with them than the beginning. So these people were not just people who just went to an assembly or quote unquote church or listened to an occasional message on TV. These were people who were in fellowship with him, knew him. And remember the parable that Yahushua gave about the man that had got cleaned from his evil ways, and the spirit that had lived there came back after a while, after walking in dry places, and said, I'm going to go back where I was. He went back and found it garnished and clean and swept. And he said, I'm going to go get 7 more dangerous and powerful than myself. We're going to come back in there. So that is what this is saying here. He said, the latter end is worse with them than the beginning. For it had been better for them not to have known the way of righteousness than after they have known it, to turn from the Kodosh commandment delivered unto them. But it is happened unto them according to the true proverb, the dog is turned to his own vomit again, and the sow that was washed to her wallowing in the mire. The great transgression. That could not be it, but it's got to be up there. To know him, truly know him, and turn from following him. That to me is a great transgression. So maybe, this is verse 14, going back to Tehillim 19. Let the words of my mouth and the meditation of my heart be acceptable in your sight, Yahuah. You are my strength and my redeemer. Let the words of my mouth and the meditation of my heart. That's something we can say every day throughout the day. Tehillim 51, beginning with verse 6. Behold, you desire truth in the inward parts, and in the hidden part you make me to know wisdom. Purge me with hyssop, and I shall be clean. Wash me, and I shall be whiter than snow. Create in me a clean heart, O Yahuah, and renew a right Ruah, Ruah, within me. For you don't desire sacrifice, else would I give it. You don't delight in burnt offerings. The sacrifice of Yahuah are broken Ruah, a broken and contrite heart. Those are the sacrifices to Yahuah. Crying out to him when we know we've fallen short. Being concerned about what he thinks about what we've done or said or where we went. And not being presumptuous. In Tehillim 19 talk about that. We can be presumptuous sometimes, like, well, if I do this, Yah knows. He knows my heart. Oh, brothers and sisters, that's a scary statement. He knows our heart. Yeah, he knows our heart. Dabarim 6. Hear, O Yashrael, Yahuah is one Yahuah, and you shall love Yahuah, our Yahuah, with all your heart, with all your being, with all your might, and these words which I command you this day shall be in your heart. Jeremiah 29:18. And you shall seek me and find me, and when you shall search when you search for me for all your heart, that's when we're gonna find him. So let me read that again, because I kind of chopped up. And you shall seek me and find me when you search for me with all your heart. Jeremiah 31 verse 31. Behold, the days come, says Yahuah, that I will make a new covenant with the house of Yashrael and with the house of Yahudah. Not according to the covenant that I made with their fathers in the day that I took them by the hand to bring them out of the land of Mizraim. Doesn't that sound so intimate? He said, I brought them out by the hand, which my covenant they broke, although I was a husband unto them, said Yahuah. But this shall be the covenant that I will make with the house of Yashrael after those days, said Yahuah. I will put my law in the inward parts and write them in their hearts, and will be their Yahuah, and they shall be my people. Based on Matthew 15 and Mark 7, and Yahushua said, are you also yet without knowledge? Do you not still grasp that whatsoever enters in at the mouth goes into the belly and comes out into the draught? But those things which proceed out of the mouth comes out of the heart, and they defile a man. These are the things which defile a man, but to eat with unwashed hands defiles not a man. For out of the heart proceeds evil thoughts, oh my, murders, adulteries, fornications, thefts, false witness, blasphemies. These are the things which defile a man, but to eat with unwashed hands defiles not a man. Remember, he told them that if a man, he was talking against adultery, and he said, but even if a man looks at a woman to lust after her, he's committed adultery. That heart again. Ecclesiastes 12. Let us hear the conclusion of the whole matter. Fear Yahuah and keep his commandments, for this is the whole duty of man. For Yahuah shall bring every work into judgment, and every secret thing, whether it be good or whether it be evil. Brothers and sisters, we've got to start working on our hearts. He is gathering up his remnant. He is doing the Gideon um, uh, separating and disqualifying and eliminating. There was one verse I don't remember reading, and I think it's in, oh my goodness, Matthew 14. But he says how he is going to, you know what, that's in, I'm going to see if I can find this. This is in another message that I'm working on. That he says that he is dividing the sheep from the sheep, but he's actually, I want to find that because that actually fits in with this. Yeah, so he's going to be dividing the sheep from the sheep. We've often heard about him separating the sheep from the goat, the wheat from the tare, but there's also a scripture in Ezekiel 34 where he breaks it down that he is going to, let me read this too. This is in this other message, but it goes with this. So in Yahuah 5, he says, "But I say unto you, everyone looking at a woman to lust for her has already committed adultery with her in his heart. And if your eye causes you to stumble, pluck it out and throw it away from you. For it's better for you that one of your members perish than for your entire body to be thrown in Gehenna, or hell, or Sheol. And if your right hand causes you to stumble, cut it off and throw it away from you. For it is better for you that one of your members perish than for your entire body to be thrown into Gehenna. Again, you heard that it was said to those of old, you shall not swear falsely, but shall perform your oaths to Yahuah. But let your word be yes, and your no, no. And what goes beyond that of these is from the wicked one." I'm going to find the one I'm looking for. Okay, so Matthew 25, he says, well, Matthew 13:41, "The Son of Man shall send forth his messengers, and they shall gather out of his kingdom all things that offend, and them which do iniquity." What? In his kingdom, there's things that offend and that are doing iniquity? So we can't think that we're okay because we know his name, we read the Torah, we get the Shabbatah, all these things that are so very important. They are important, but he's going to look at our heart. So he's going to send forth messengers, and they're going to gather out of his kingdom all things that offend and them which do iniquity. And he shall cast them into a furnace of fire. There shall be wailing and gnashing of teeth. Then shall the righteous shine forth as the sun in the kingdom of their Abba. Who hath ears to hear, let him hear. Yahuah 25:31, "When the Son of Man shall come in his esteem and honor, and all the Kodesh messengers with him, then shall he sit upon the throne of his esteem and honor. And before him shall be gathered all nations, and he shall separate them one from another, as a shepherd divides his sheep from the goats. And he shall set the sheep on the right hand, but the goats on the left." Now listen to this. Ezekiel 34, beginning with verse 20. "Therefore Yahuah said to them, Behold, I, even I, will judge between the fat sheep and between the lean sheep. Because you have thrust with side and with shoulder," he's talking to the shepherds now, these preachers who are hirelings, "with shoulder, and pushed all the disease with your horns, till you have scattered them abroad. Therefore will I save my flock, and they shall be no more a prey, and I will judge between sheep and sheep." So, the time has come, the judgment is going to begin at the household of Yahuah. He is dividing sheep between sheep, the fat from the lean. We need to be fat with his word. We need to be fat with things that please him, because he is doing he's going to be doing a separation. He's coming quickly. His reward is with him. He knows our heart better than we know our heart. So we really do need to think about it when we say, well, Yah knows my heart. Okay, let it be in the positive of what we're saying when we say Yah knows our heart, because he knows the good and the evil of us. He knows the depths of us. He was there when we were curiously, King James says, curiously wrought in the lowest parts of the earth. That Psalms or Tehillim 139 lets us know that every place we go, he's there. We can't hide from him. He knows our thoughts before we even say them. Oh my. There are no secrets with him. And the secrets that we do have to the world, they're going to be revealed. If we don't get them taken care of, we don't get them under the blood, we don't get them blotted out, We need to ask for a clean heart, a right spirit. So with that, that's all I have today. These are very serious times. You know, there's so many distractions. It's so easy to get caught up in different things, especially if you're raising children. There's things going on. You know, if you have a job, there's requirements on the job. Oh, if you have people in your life that are not walking this straight and narrow path, it's just so many distractions. There really are. But we've got, in our secret time, we've got to be reaching out to him to strengthen us and to help us to make it. That's Psalms 51. Create in me a clean heart, Yahuah, and renew a right Ruah in me. Let me go back to that. Because he's looking at the heart. He's looking at the heart. And then Tehillim 19. Let me see, where is that? Who can understand his errors? We better know our errors. We better start looking at ourselves, right? Have I told you that story about when he told me? I was getting ready for work one morning, and I had been listening to a message, and was just thanking him. I don't know if it was on truth or not. I don't know. I just remember saying, Father, I thank you that you've given me a love for truth. I thank you for that. And this is like maybe 13 years ago or so. And I said, thank you. And he said, to love truth is when I tell you truth about yourself. And I was like, oh, Father, that is so true. Even when you tell me truth about myself, I have to be willing to accept it. So we have to have a love for truth. So who can understand his errors? We don't really know ourselves like we think we know ourselves, but we need to get to know ourselves. We need to become mindful. Abba, cleanse me from secret faults. Keep me back from presumptuous sinning. Don't be thinking I can get away with things, because you'll understand, because you know my heart. Or, well, I'm not as bad as I used to be. At least I don't do this anymore. He's looking at the intent of our heart. And remember, he knows our thoughts before we even speak them. There's no running and escaping. We can't escape. He knows. He knows our heart. And that's why sometimes I think about it, I say, well, Father, if I can at least be in the marriage supper of the Lamb. Because I'm like, I want to make it. I want to make it. I don't want to keep falling short. And the things of the heart are the things that are going to get us. A lot of us have good works, but it's the condition of the heart. Keep your servant back from presumptuous sins. You know, do we do this sometimes? Because sometimes, you know, we know people and we know, oh, if I say it this way, then they'll know what I mean. And maybe they'll do this for me. You know, we cannot be always calculating in our minds. Keep your servant back also from presumptuous sins. Let them not have dominion over me. Then I shall be upright. And I shall be innocent from the great transgression. Y'all, let the words of my mouth and the meditation of my heart be acceptable in your sight, Yahuah, my strength and my redeemer. Let the words of my mouth and the meditation of my heart be acceptable in your sight, Yahuah, my strength and my redeemer. Father, oh, Yah, help us to present our hearts to you, that you can help us going through the examination of our heart. You know, and sometimes he'll come back and he'll show us things about ourselves. And, you know, and he's doing that because of his love for us. He's like, I'm helping you get ready. So now what you need to do is bring this to me and let's take care of it. Let's blot it out. Let's blot it out. Because as far as the east is from the west, is how far I will remove it from you. My kindness and my compassion is as far as the Shamayim is from the Arets. We can get it taken care of when he brings it back to us. Sometimes he'll bring stuff back to, well, from me. He has brought things back to me, and it was so embarrassing. It was just him and me. But it was so embarrassing. Just, oh my. Oh my. And then there's times when I say something, or I have a thought, and I'm like, where did that come from? Oh, Father, help me. Is that really in me? Help me, Father, to be free of the evil, the works of iniquity. And so all works of iniquity seems to me to not necessarily be those things that can be seen with the natural eye. Some works of iniquity, the most important ones, are the ones that's in my heart. Because I might do a work of iniquity on the outside, but he sees my heart, the intent. And I might be better off by the outward iniquity and the heart being right than my heart being wicked and having iniquity and my actions being right. The sacrifices of the Lord are a broken Ruah, a broken and a contrite heart. You don't want sacrifices. Well, I'm going to give this $100 even though I need to pay my light bill. That's silly. Daud went on to say, create in me a clean heart, O Lord, and renew a right Ruah, within me. Yah desires truth in the inward parts and in the hidden part. He will help us to know wisdom. Help us to love him with all our heart. As he said in Devarim 6, and you shall love Yahuah your Lord with all your heart, with all your being, and with all your might. And these words which I command you this day shall be in your heart. And you shall seek me, Jeremiah 29, and find me when you search for me with all your heart. He's right. He has written it, his covenant on our inward parts and in our heart. So brothers and sisters, we've got work to do. We've got to be getting ready. We got to be getting ready. The next, well, I don't know if it'll be the next one, but because there's like 2 or 3 that Yah is talking to me about. But one of them is about being ready, being made ready, being made ready. Oh my, being made ready, being made ready. And when we read that in his own, the last few times I read it, I also was feeling that readiness. And when that bride is presented and everything is placed, she's in her fine white linen. Isn't that awful how the world took that and turned around and have these women getting married in white, and so many of them are not worthy of the white. I'm not saying they're in linen. And I was one of those. You know, I did things I should not have done before getting married. And yet they took that, well, like the world always does, takes things and perverts it and defiles it. That comes from Yahuah. But anyway, so I'm going to close. Let us hear the conclusion of the whole matter, brother and sisters. Fear Yahuah and keep his commandments, for this is the whole duty of man. For Yahuah shall bring every work into judgment, and every secret thing, whether it be good or whether it be evil. Let's work on the condition of our hearts. The condition of our hearts. And may we all have at least 1 or 2 people in our lives that we can talk to and be able to help one another. The condition of our hearts. That's what he looks at. That's what he's going to judge by. He doesn't look at the outward appearance. He told Samuel that. I look at the heart. And Yahushua said something like that. I think he said that too. That he doesn't judge by outward appearance. So it's about the heart, brothers and sisters. Don't matter what assembly you belong to and what you do, how busy you are in that assembly. Doesn't matter that you can tell people that we keep the Shabbat if we tell people. It doesn't matter if we tell people, oh yeah, I read Torah portions. None of that matters. What do we do? And you know the main thing is, what do we do when nobody else is around? That's really what integrity is, right? Integrity is doing what's right when no one is there. When no one sees. Tehillim says that promotions don't come from the east, the west, or the south. When man gives us a promotion on these jobs, it's because Yahuah saw us. He saw what we did when no one else was looking. He saw the intent of our heart, and he caused them to give us that promotion or that raise. It's our heart. It's our heart. And that's why when people come to know better, they do better because their heart. I started parenting like my mother parented and like her mother parented, and how many generations were parented with a harshness, because that's what I knew. But as I learned to do better, I did better. It was kind of late. I mean, my children were up in age. But I talked to them, and we got it. They knew where I was coming from, and probably was a shock to them. But it was good. So when we read the word, and one of the verses we read something about that. When we come to know the word, when we come to know what it is that he's expecting from us, then that's when he's going to be expecting that change. He knows our heart. If they know to do better, they'll do better. Let me send this word. Let me let them read in the scriptures today. Let me just speak to them. Let me show them their ways. That this is not good. You know, in the Torah, there's some things like there's something that he talks about when the way they used to measure things. Some people would have an extra weight in their pocket, and when they wanted to make more money, they would put it on that side that they were weighing to make it weigh more so they could charge more. And he talks about that. So many things he talks about. People say the law, he did away with the law. Are you kidding me? The law is teaching us how to live. What did Paul say? If it wasn't for the law, I wouldn't have known I was transgressing. Brothers and sisters, I am going to close right now and just remind, let me just end again, that the whole duty of man, let me get back to it, is Ecclesiastes 12. Let us hear the conclusion of the whole matter. So the conclusion to this message is, fear Yahuah and keep his commandments, for this is the whole duty of man. For Yahuah shall bring every work into judgment, with every secret thing, whether it be good or whether it be evil. Oh my. I am believing that he's bringing my loved ones in, especially my children and my next generation of children, my grandchildren. But when I think about how they're living right now, I'm concerned. And Tehillim 138 verse 8 says that whatever I'm concerned about, he will perfect it. And I'm grateful when he shows me me. I'm grateful when he shows me me. Because how can I get it right? How can I get it right? And he knows so much. Sometimes he'll bring something on like, oh, I don't even remember that anymore. But like, yeah, because he's truth. So he brings something to us, it's truth. And what are you going to do? I remember once he brought me something back when I was, I don't know, maybe 8 years old. No, I'm going to go a little bit low. So I remember when I was in first grade, we'd go out for recess, and I would always have an excuse to come back in, and my teacher would let me back in the room, the school, because we had a door that went right into our classroom. And I would go through people's lunches and eat their lunch. Not the whole thing, but like if they had a certain snack or something. Because my mom didn't pack those kind of lunches. We had good lunches, but it wasn't like, you know, some of those snacks that I wanted. And I don't remember if the teacher ever caught on and stopped me from coming in and go to the bathroom because we'd come back in to eat. Because we lived overseas, and so there was no cafeteria. Everyone had to bring their lunches in. Sometimes children didn't even know that they had something in their lunch to miss it. And other times they did know because maybe their mom had told them earlier, or maybe I left the wrapper, I don't know. But, and I'd be sitting there and someone ate my lunch, someone ate my cookies. And he brought that back to me once, that I was a thief. I was like, a thief? And then he started bringing other things. And so do you know at that point, that's when I stopped saying take advantage. I'm going to take advantage of that. I don't take anything that's not mine. I'm not taking advantage. And then advantage in itself. That's one of those phrases, brothers and sisters, that we got to think about. Should I be saying taking advantage? Because if we have favor with him, he opens doors for us that no man can shut. And he shuts doors that we don't need to be walking through to protect us that no man can open. I have gotten into something else. I love you, brothers and sisters. We've got to work on our hearts. We've got to work on our hearts. At the sound of the last trumpet sound, he's going to appear. And the dead in him are going to rise first. And then we who are alive and yet remain are going to meet him in the air. But we can't ever weigh down. We can't have a heart is corrupt, still has defilement, has wickedness. I'm going to find out what he said about the heart. That was so. In Jeremiah 17, the heart is deceitful above all things and is exceedingly perverse and corrupt and severely, mortally sick. Who can know it? We don't know our hearts, but we got to ask him. We got to ask him. Now, what's my heart like? What's my heart like? Don't let the evil one deceive us in thinking that we're okay. Because we're not like we used to be. Because when we were used to be, we're not that anymore. But I'm going to talk for me. I am not where I need to be. Cleanse my heart. Cleanse my heart. Verse 10 says, Yahuah, search the mind. I, Yahuah, search the mind. I try the heart, even to give every man according to his ways, according to the fruit of his doings. Then in Psalm 22, behold, I come quickly. He that is unjust, let him be unjust still. He that is filthy, let him be filthy still. And he that is righteous, let him be righteous still. And he that is kadosh, let him be kadosh still. And behold, I come quickly, and my reward is with me, to give to every man, according as his work shall be. I heard a testimony of a man the other day, and he was saying how he had an encounter with Yahuah, and Yahuah was talking to him about himself, and he told him that his heart was wicked, and that it wasn't so much the things that he's doing on the outside, but he told him, he says, I see how you look at women. I see how you look at women, and I see how your mind goes. This is a man who is striving to live for Yah. Brothers and sisters, let's not be surprised at the end and find that we didn't make it because we didn't work on our heart. Let's work on our heart. When Abba Yah brings stuff to us, we got to get it right. You know what? I'm thinking now how much more humble I would be. Not that I'm not as humble as I need to be. In fact, I'm not even going to say I am humble. I'm not even going to say I'm there. But I'm working on humility. And the Beatitudes, you know, a lot of when you think about the Beatitude, that was talking about our attitude, how our attitude needs to be, the Beatitudes. Okay. But so let's get it together. Let's start making ourselves ready. Let's start preparing. Let's not be like the 5 foolish thinking it don't take all that. I'm going to be fine. That's presumptuous. I'm going to be okay. We don't take all that. And in their heart, what was the intent of their heart? Where they say, well, you know what? If I end up needing some, we'll just ask them to give us some. That's presumptuous. We'll just ask them to give us some. They did all the work. They were in tune with Yahuah, who led them to think that you better bring some extra because you don't know when he's coming. That's presumptuous. I'll just ask them. All right, brothers and sisters, until next time, stay encouraged. Let's work together on these hearts so that we can meet him in the air and be presented. He says he's going to present the bride to himself. He's going to present the bride to himself. Be encouraged. Remember, we win in Yahuah. We win in Yah. All praises be to the Most High, the one who loves us and wants us to make it. He wants us to make it. We will not be as the sow that goes back to wallow in the mire or the dog returning to his vomit. We will not. We're going to walk hand in hand with him. He said he brought them out, the children of Yisrael, he brought them out of Mizraim by the hand. That's so intimate. I love you, brothers and sisters. Let's endure to the end. Let's make it. Let's work on these hearts, because that is what he's going to judge by. That is what he's looking at. Let us be among the fat sheep, not the lean sheep. Why? Because we're eating of the word. We're eating that bread of life. Until next time, praise Yah. All praises be to the Most High. Ashe.